I really wanted to be in the medical field. I wanted to either be a doctor or maybe a nurse or a nurse practitioner. That was kind of coming in about that time. And when I came to school, I almost blew up the chemistry lab and made a C in chemistry. So those days were over before they got started. It was in between my sophomore and junior year. I can remember calling home to my mom, and I was really in tears, and I just said, I think God is calling me into teaching. And I'm just kind of struggling with it because that was kind of, everyone predicted that that's what I would do, that I would teach and coach. And maybe I was just kind of trying to pull away from that stereotype just a little bit. But God definitely spoke to me at the end of my sophomore year, and I came, and Dr. Rhodes helped me start on that journey, and that's, I went that way. I'm Stephane Shellenberger, and I've been at Southern Nazarene University for, I think this is my 44th year. I retired in July, and I'm still teaching a few adjunct classes. I originally came to SNU. Dr. Wanda Rhodes asked me to come and start the women's volleyball program, and that was in 1976. And so had a lot of fun doing that. And then I was able to also work as an assistant athletic director and then coached cross country and track and field. But I've also been a professor in the kinesiology department, primarily teaching in the physical education accreditation area and working with students. My dad coached at the university level for a lot of my growing up years, and so there were some opportunities in university towns for girls to participate in sports. It was somewhat limited, but there were still some opportunities that I had. And so track and field is what I started out being most interested in, and then when we moved to Abilene, Texas, I kind of spread out and did different things. But yes, I've always loved sports and competition and winning. I was teaching in a local public school. I was teaching science, actually. And I called her and I said, God is leading me, and I can feel that He's preparing me for a change, and I just would like to ask you to pray with me and pray for me about that. I had no idea that there might be an opportunity here. I hadn't even thought about that. If you asked Dr. Rhodes to pray for you, then things happened. And so she called me back about 2 weeks later, and she said, would you like to come to SNU and start the women's volleyball team? She had talked to, I guess, whoever could make those kinds of decisions, and then started the women's program and just had some great girls that kind of kicked it off well. So we had women's basketball, and then we had women's volleyball. And so it opened the door to, future opportunities for that. The young women that came, they were foundation builders. They were leaders on campus. So they set a great example of not just being an athlete, but being a good student as well. I can remember when we had one of the highest recruited athletes, female athletes in the United States. She was being recruited in softball, basketball. She had set the state track and field shot put and discus, and she had been a terror. She was about 5'11". She could bench press 180 pounds. This was in 1978. The vice principal at her high school was a Nazarene and invited her to church, and she became a Christian. The pastor called me and said, I have this girl that's, really good, and she would like to come and try out for BNC at that point. So I set the net up in the small gym, and the setter that was at the church came with her. And so in volleyball, you have a 10-foot line. So I'm sitting on the center line in the big gym. The 10-foot line is right there. And at that point, I'd never seen a female that could hit the ball and drive it straight down on the other side of the net. So I was just doing ball tosses, and the setter came to me and she said, Coach, you might want to move. And I'm standing about 9 feet in from the center line. And, I thought, I'm fine. So I toss the ball, and Lisa comes up and drives the ball straight down and hits me in the face. And so I just stopped, and I said, Lisa, you want to come to my office and sign to play for SNU? And so we did. And she helped us be the first nationally ranked females team in SNU's history with volleyball. And she was an All-American, and then ended up playing for the Olympic team handball. So she was quite an athlete. You just hope that God can use you for whatever opportunity that you have, and you want to take the times that have been hard for you, and you want to be able to share that genuinely with others so that maybe it can help them get through a hard time. You want your students to come to know and love Christ, and to know that He is enough and that He can be trusted. I'm just so blessed and honored. There wasn't a day that I didn't get up and love what I did. So it was special every day. Walking into the classroom was sacred. These students are sacred. I just can't imagine having been blessed anymore.